Welcome to the Company of One podcast. This is episode 210. Today we're going to talk about the idea and that it doesn't really matter. It's about execution and how do you actually get to that and get paid. Okay, Today we're going to be talking through one of the common issues, and everything I'm trying to talk about on this podcast is common issues. And the things and the questions that I get and that I've gotten over time and what they look like, what they mean, and how they matter to me and to you. So in the Company of One podcast, one of the things I'm always telling people is every one of us are a company of one. Every one of us individually provide a service to the world, and we get paid for the service, right? That's what I mean by company of one. We should operate like a company, whether you work for a big giant beast or whether you're working for yourself or something anywhere in between. So in that, one of the things that I've started to really focus on is helping people start side businesses or start businesses to leave the corporate culture. There's always a bit of demand for that, but it's speeding up a little bit. It's getting more intense as we're seeing more companies, large companies do a call return to work, and it's just it's a shift that we go through. Most of the people that I'm working with, they've been in corporations for enough years to feel like, okay, I was out there, I was adding value, everything was going great, I felt pretty good about my work, and it just gets to a point of feeling numb. Now, for some of you, that's like 2 weeks in. For some of us, we still like our job. We still may even like the company, but it just starts to it begins to feel pointless, meaningless. Maybe I want to do something else. Maybe I want to drive into something where I control the game. And that's what we're talking about here. So in this, and in line of this, and most of the people in corporate America, the one beautiful thing about that is that we are engaged with ideas. We're engaged with people. We're not just usually sitting at home waiting on things to happen. So we are out there seeing what's going on in the marketplace. So every now and then we get to thinking. Now, for some of us, it never stops, right? And that may be you, because if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a thinker of ideas. You probably have more ideas than you know what to do with. You think some of them are dogs. You think some of them are great. You're just not sure about other ones, right? If you're in that category, that's good. That's good. You're thinking. There are people out there, and it may be hard for me and you to believe, but I do run into people out there who don't have ideas, who don't want ideas, and are not interested. Great. We are all happy that people like just going to work, because we need that. We all want our power to come on. We want our lights and air conditioner and heater and things like that to come on. So, but every now and then, so I'm talking to the group of people there that are idea people, and like, I want to make something happen, and I want to start generating money. Every now and then we get this idea, and maybe it's every day, but that we need a $1 million, multi-million dollar, billion, put a number on it, doesn't matter. We need this fantastic idea before we start a business. It's a common question that I get. People will call me up and say, I want to start a business, or I'm working with people, but I have no idea what to do. I'm looking for a right idea. People will also call me up often with ideas and say, this is a brilliant idea. But what I want to tell you today is that doesn't matter. And I'm going to be really hardcore about this. It doesn't matter at all. Now, are there some fantastical ideas that will, make billions of dollars and others not? There's some characteristics of good ideas but no, that's not the key. The key is not about the idea. Now, the key, I'm just going to tell you, as I told you in intro, the key is execution. But we'll talk about what that means. But I have to spend a lot of time convincing people about the key is execution, because I used to hear that. People used to say, Dale, the key is all about execution. And I'm like, well, that's good. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. When I would walk away and like, what did he mean? What do you mean execution? And so the key here, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But I would still walk away looking like my idea is not good enough. Today, you will find me thinking through ideas and thinking, that's not marketable. I mean, we all do it. We do it to ourselves. If you're doing that, that's normal. And there's several reasons for that I will not get into so much today. But they're having to do with what's going on in your head. The world is full of people with great ideas. As a matter of fact, I will go further. The patent office, the U.S. patent office, and I suspect the patent office in every country that has a patent office is full of some fantastic ideas that people spent real money on to get it patented, real energy on, that went zero. They made $0. Matter of fact, they made negative because they spent money on a patent. So the world is full of those. At the university that I'm currently working with, we have a intellectual property group, as most large organizations do, and we have at least we have thousands. I don't even know what the number is today. We have thousands of ideas on the shelf, if you will. It's kind of like if you could go shopping and just pull them off the shelf. They're there. They're real ideas. They're from real science. They're sitting there. And if you pick on any organization in the world that's large, they have ideas on the shelf. Great ideas often on the shelf. And the reason they're not running with those ideas is because they have no executioner. They have no person to lead. This becomes a leadership problem. So, all right. So what? But today, what we're going to look at is how do you focus on the execution, and what does all this mean? So let me kind of just share a little experiences though I have. Sitting in a university faculty position in engineering, especially, I think we are uniquely caught up in this. And if you're a faculty member somewhere in engineering, I bet you feel same thing. You probably, in other faculty roles too, but engineering, we have a unique, because engineers build things and make things happen. But as a faculty member, I oftentimes get people, they'll call up randomly, they'll email, they may have seen something about my profile online. Who knows how they get to you, right? And they will call me up, and I'm not the only one, but I promise you it happens this way. They'll say, I've got this idea. I need some engineering help to bring it to market. This is a multi-billion-dollar, world-changing, life-changing idea. And I'm not exaggerating. That's what they say. And they say it passionately. They'll say different words, but that's what they all mean. This is a multi-billion-dollar. That's what I'm always hearing. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. A guy told me the last time, this is guaranteed. Guaranteed this is going to be this big of a business. So, I do what anybody else would do. I said, well, tell me a little bit. We don't do anything for free, but tell me. And they would say, well, I can't talk about it before you're signing a non-disclosure. And one guy told me something one time, just enough to know it was something about washing machines. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't get super excited about washing machines, but I could see that there's some business opportunity. I have no idea what his plan was, because, he wouldn't talk to me. And I don't generally sign non-disclosures on wild, crazy ideas, because I'd be in a legal mess if I did. But we all think about, we have this big idea, or we think that we need a big idea, and we think it needs to be complex. And like I said, I do the same thing. I'm guilty of this all of the time. I will throw out simple ideas and go after the more complex ones. And you probably have a pile of both. right? And you probably take your simple ideas, you do like I do, you take your simple ideas and you make them complex. This started out super simple, and now don't know how to do it. So let me just tell you. I mean, we've got business activities that I've been involved in the real estate rental, real estate flipping. Pretty straightforward, fairly simple, right? I have overcomplicated those too, but we've been involved in online marketing, consulting, importing, manufacturing, software development. There's probably a lot of things I just have forgotten. Video gaming. We've been involved in video gaming. That was the super simple business idea, which, by the way, made more money than you would have thought. But these things, they typically weren't revolutionary because, what we found is someone who needed them, right? Someone who needed them. So let me give you an example. Overthinking about our business ideas. I have a cousin who started a trash business, right? I'm just going to pick up trash in my area because they didn't like the person. I think he was in an area and they didn't like who was doing it, or they dropped the contract. I don't know. And he said, I'll just go buy me a trash truck and just do it myself. So he started picking up trash. He sold his business for multi-millions. Nothing super special, nothing super interesting, right? And nothing that we would consider a big idea. Could he have grown that bigger? Yeah, there's bigger businesses out there that do trash that make lots more money on that, and they're traded on the stock market. So the idea isn't the key. So here's why we're talking about this. I run into people all the time that say, Dale, I still don't have a good idea. I've been doing some things. I don't think they're a good idea. I don't think they're scalable. I'm just not there, and I feel kind of stuck. And the reason they're stuck, at least this sticking point, is because they don't have a good idea. So let me just kind of break this down into 3 different points. Point number 1 is execution beats ideas every time. If you have ever watched Shark Tank, you have people coming on with crazy ideas, people coming on with ideas that me and you may think, hey, that's a good idea. The things we think are stupid, right? Everything. I mean, they have to pass some tests to get to the level to get on television on Shark Tank. There's multiple levels. I've had multiple friends go through that. I don't know if any of them have ever made it to that front level or not. But I do know that there's a process, right? We want to vet the best things, probably the best things for television too, is what you want to do. So when you watch that, though, you will see they'll get excited about ideas about this much, just a little bit, right? The ideas may grab their attention, but what grabs their attention is, have these founders executed? They're always saying, how much have you sold? Right? And that answer, you will watch people. If you watch the sharks, that will move them from, that sounds like a boring, stupid idea, to, whoa, now I'm listening. Now I'm excited. Now I might be an investor, right? Because they see execution. And that's really where the key is executing. And I'm going to translate that a little bit to sales. So a friend of mine who's a multi, one of these guys that starts companies, sells them, starts more companies, gets venture capital and sells them. I remember he had sold out, and he said, I'm looking for a new idea. I don't need an A or a B idea. It can be a C or a D idea. As a matter of fact, I almost prefer a C or D idea because there's not a lot of competition for the new ideas, and execution is king. So the guys that do this enough, they know that it's about the execution. And everyone has ideas. There's graveyards full of them, right? The difference is who acts. So here's the signs we're looking for. There's the planner, which is where most people land. The planner. They write business plans. They may get LLCs. They have lots of written documentation on their idea. They talk about it some, but not to many people. but they never really engage with true customers, people that have the potential to pay them, people who have the problem, right? The doer now is the opposite, and they're the ones who just start. They almost look unhinged at times because they just start offering services like crazy, and some of them will be start one thing and then it don't work, and I'll start another thing, and then they just look like this. Those people don't know what they're doing. They may be closer, right? Because they're starting engaging with customers before they are ready. That's a sign of success there. I've always been told execution wins. We'll talk about what that means in a minute, but I'm just telling you, I agree. Execution wins. We'll talk about some details about how to do that in a minute. So just let me give you just a principle, though. Just kind of as I break this down into 3 points. The second point is there's a principle here. Customers define your business and your success, not you. Now, that doesn't mean your customers are first, like that adage we hear all the time. Customers are not first. The business is first, but the customers define the business in the sense of how they engage with it, with the products they buy, the feedback they have, how excited they are. Those are the kind of things. There is a poster sitting right above my monitors right now that a friend of mine that he's coached me in my business, and it says, nobody wants your product, they want their problem solved. Nobody wants your problem, they want their problem. They want their problem. Nobody wants your product or service, they want their problem solved. And you think about it, that's what me and you do, right? We're not really interested in buying products and services. And what we get excited about is when somebody can solve a problem for us. That's why we spend money. That's why we take out our wallet and hand it over to other people. There is a service. Our air conditioner goes out. We want it working. We don't want an air conditioner place. We don't want a maintenance plan. We want it working, right? I feel overweight. I feel out of shape. I don't want a health plan. I don't want a physical fitness plan. I want you to show me how to transform myself. I want the results. I want transformation. And that's what we usually want. So we get caught up in the product. We get caught up in the service and how you define it, how you name it, what the logo is, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Now, can those things be important? Yes, later. The market is going to decide what is valuable. The market's going to decide, is your product valuable or not? But there's a whole lot of things you do to make that happen. So let me just give you an example. I was driving around the other day, and this is the first time I've seen this. Let me know if you've seen these. I suspect it's a franchise, but I don't know that. It was a guy in a pickup truck, and I think he had a trailer behind him, and it may have been attached to his truck, and it was a trash can washing service. And he had like 2 places to connect on the back of this trailer. It's kind of a modified trailer, I think, that looked like it attached trash cans. And the trash cans you roll out to the street, and the trash service comes and picks it up. We're talking about trash a lot today. Kind of a boring subject, but there's money here, right? So, but anyway, this guy was and it said big thing on the side of his truck, something trash can washing service, right? Good. It was good because you knew exactly what he was about and what he did. And I was thinking, wow, that's probably a new company. That's probably a new franchise that sold this because the rig was set up. I mean, it didn't look like it was totally homemade. And I was thinking, is that a good business? Maybe. Yeah. Here's why I don't like it. Is I think about trash cans once or twice a week, usually when I am dragging them to the road, right? Otherwise, I'm probably not engaging with them. Maybe I'm taking some trash out and putting it into them. So I guess I'm engaging with it a couple of times a week. And if it stinks, if it's dirty and everything, I notice it then. But by the time I go back inside or get back to the house, I don't know if I remember the engaging with the trash can. Now, I am sure that some people really want their trash cans to be super clean or they're super nasty. So I'm sure there's a business, but to me, it's not a very emotional business. I don't get really keyed up about how the trash can looks or smells, but I'm sure some people do. And notice what I'm saying here is emotional. Now, if I was that guy trying to sell trash can services, I would be tying to the emotions. I would be talking about, does your trash can stink? Does it make your stomach turn every time you take trash out? Are you embarrassed for your neighbors because you think everybody smells their trash can as it goes to the road? I mean, there are some really emotional factors you can go with right here, but it's not a big thing. Now, I flipped this around to say, what about weight loss? What about weight loss? We do think about it all day long. If we're overweight, if we're out of shape, we tend to get very emotional about it. Our identity becomes wrapped up in it. We think about it constantly, so it's a real problem for us, right? So both of these are real problems: stinky, dirty trash cans, feeling out of shape, feeling unattractive, feeling all the things that go with weight loss. So I know some weight loss services, people who have real experience that have helped people lose weight, been successful at it, that have made $0. There was nothing wrong with their product. It wasn't any better or worse than any other product on the market that may be making millions or hundreds of millions of dollars that are for weight loss. It wasn't a drug, but it was a plan to help people get in shape. But I've seen those plans that are as good as anybody else's, and they're just not making any money. They teach people how to eat. They teach people how to, do some of the basic exercises to actually and do this as a normal human being, where you're not a gym rat all day. And it works. And they have proof for not only them, but friends and other people that have used their plan. But they're not making any money. And then I was talking about trash cans. I told about just to talk to you about my cousin who just had a trash can service, sold it for millions of dollars. They did make money. And I'm sorry, I'm still not excited about trash cans or trash. I understand the need, but I'm not very excited about it. Now notice, my cousin executed. He took a boring, basic service, sold it to individual customers first, and then sold it to another company later. The other person I'm talking about that had the weight loss never delivered it. Never delivered it for a price anyway, and it hasn't delivered it enough times for a price to have a real business. I'll say that. So this is and then what's what I'm saying. The principle here is the customers define the business, but you've got to get the customers, right? It's not your logo, it's not your plan, it's what did you do for your customers? How do the customers feel about it? Do I feel like my trash being taken out is a good thing and I'm going to pay the guy? Yeah, I'll pay him. I think they do a good enough job. That's all I need. Weight loss or fitness, maybe that's all I need too. I feel like they need to do a good enough job and engage with me. But if I don't know they exist, then what point is there? Right, and there's a big key in execution, right? So now let's just, when we say customers define the business, let me back up. If you're trying to start a business or you've started some things and you're not really getting a lot of traction, I'll just say most small businesses, and I don't know the statistics in here, but I'm going to guess it's super, super high, right? Above 80%. Start out as consulting, helping people with what you already know. Your business is probably so close to you right now, it's probably just there at your fingertips. You are so close to your business that you don't even know it's a business idea. And that is true. That's true for all of us. Like what I'm talking about right now. I have been helping people with career stuff, with rolling out businesses over and over for over 20 years. I've helped people make a ton of money. I have helped people, guided them through business startups, business struggles. So I have a client right now that's trying to struggle and grow, and I have been helping all these things for years. And you would say, well, that's kind of an obvious business model. No, no, I'd think, well, because and I have done this. I have said, well, I have nothing to offer there. I have said that more than once, right? And I say that to say you probably say the same thing about many of your ideas too, that are kind of like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. So you just need to start consulting. So my first wins in terms of the coaching, consulting, helping people get their business running has, when I had a lot of wins stacked up where I wasn't charging people or they were part of the university spinoffs. And then when I started charging to actually help people, to structure it, to get some people some help, I had some really wins come, but it wasn't because, it's weird because I would do what I'm talking about. I would do the negative what I'm talking about. I would come up with these plans. Here's what we're going to do. And I would tell clients, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to work on together. Because they need a plan. They need a guide. At least I thought they needed a guide, but that's not what most of them needed. Most of them switched gears on me and made me go in another direction. And I thought they were like, no, that's not what I need. I need this. I got long time paying clients that have been working with me for years, and the thing I thought I was going to help them with is not what I'm helping them with. They are defining what they need from me. And that's okay. That's okay in this, in a consulting operation. That's oftentimes what happens, whether you're billing tens and hundreds of dollars or thousands and ten thousands of dollars. It doesn't matter. The customer kind of defines the relationship because there's not a tangible, hey, here's a widget here that I'm selling you, or there's not a service like I'm picking up your trash or fixing your air conditioner. It's nothing concrete. Sometimes it is, but so when you get out there and start coaching, when you get out there, I put coaching, consulting, all that's the same stuff, right? When you start doing that, whether you're working with businesses or with individuals, you just need to meet the need and understand what the need is, and you can meet the need right now, today. All right. So So that brings me to point 3. That the principle here is the customer helps you define that. Point 3 is action creates clarity, and this is where we're going to drill down to execution. Stop waiting for the right idea. So I'm just going to be hardcore. Stop waiting for the right idea. You probably got a couple there that kind of bubble up, and hey, these are good. If they're super complex and you can't explain them to your wife or your sister or your grandmother or somebody else. I always call it the grandmother test. If you can't explain what you're doing to your grandmother and they understand it, you don't have any clarity. You don't know. You don't have. Either it's too complicated of an idea, or you can't explain it to the people who are writing the check. Some businesses are complicated, right? Especially things we might sell to other corporations. But if you can't explain it, you can't sell it. So I go with the simpler ideas because look, once you're moving, it's easy to pivot and change things. So pick something and go. Go small, test it, get feedback, change it if you must. So here is how I execute. This is what we would call the fast test method, because when you are executing a business idea for the first time, you are testing. Now, I don't get me wrong, I'm not like, hey, I've always dreamed of becoming a weight loss consultant, and you're telling me if I can't go out there and sell it, I'm going to give up that dream and do something else. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying how you try to sell it and package it on day 1 or day 2, at first doesn't work. You still do weight loss and helping people with physical fitness and things like that, but you do it a little differently. You package it differently. So when I say failing or testing, we're not usually testing the general concept of what you're doing, but how you deliver the problem, how you deliver the solution to the problem. Okay, so that's 2 different things, right? Uber and taxis both solve the same problem. They're just delivered differently. And there's other ways to deliver the problem. The solution to the problem that Uber and taxis do. So, all right. So what we want you to do first is, number one, write down 3 skills and experiences you have. Don't overthink this. They're so close to you, they should come right off the top of your head. They can be, let's kind of be obvious. It should be something you kind of enjoy doing, right? So if you are, say I have skills for cleaning kitchens because I'm really good at that, my wife says. But if you don't want to do that, don't write that down. So write down 3 skills or experiences you have. So experiences can be anything from I've had experience, and I know somebody who's done that. If I've had experience because I had a child, not me, but a friend of mine that had a child with diabetes, and then it changed how we did our daily life, right, as she was growing up. And I have experience of what that looks like, how to do that. This woman did, right? She had the experience, and how do you do that? How do you manage that? How do you live through that? How do you still keep the kids and your daughter involved in all the activities she wants to be involved in, to be like all the other kids, and still manage this diabetes? Well, that's an experience. She makes money off that experience. Now, she helps people with that very problem. How do I have my life and keep my daughter or son sane, in this experience? So that's an experience. And whatever experiences you have, they're valuable. You can package them up. Now, they can be skills you have too. I think about things like writing software or building something, whatever. So write down 3 skills and experiences you have. Now, if it might help to write down as many until you run out. Don't judge any of them. Just write them down and then come back and say, hey, these 3. These 3 I kind of like. Okay, so you just got to get it on paper. And I do mean write it down, whether you're on a Word document or something, or pen and paper. Write it down. And then share it with 5 or 10 people. Go out there and talk to 5. Now, not just random people, but people who might have the problem. If I'm somebody who had a child with diabetes and now they're grown and off and living their own life, and I could talk to other parents who have kids with diabetes and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting this service where I'm helping parents manage this. What do you think? And you could have some thoughts about what that looks like because you have experience, right? Or, hey, I've been writing code to help banks process, transactions. Go talk to people in banks, right? So you want to talk to people that are close enough to the problem they can give you some real feedback. Share it with 5 or 10 people. I'm not even going to get into somebody's going to steal your idea. Don't worry about that. I can explain to you later why that's not an issue, but they're not going to steal your idea. That's not your problem. Your problem is getting motion, right? So share it. Get feedback. What you're looking for here when you get feedback is some emotional connection. Do they light up? Do they ask you questions about what happens? Do they say, please, when are you going to offer that? So then kind of just get some feedback. Just spend a week or two just playing this game. And time doesn't matter. The faster the better. But if it takes you a week or so, then pick an idea that wins. Pick an idea and say, okay, I'm going to stick my fork in this one and just go with it. And then start putting it in front of customers today. Go home and say, okay, what I'm going to do is offer this service. Write it down. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to charge. Don't overcomplicate it. People don't care about all your complications. They just care about what am I going to do. Let them actually lead with it. Go tell them, hey, I'm going to solve your problem. I'll go back to the diabetes issue. I'm going to help parents with that. And then the parents are going to say, what are you going to do for us? But probably that's not what they're going to say. Probably they're going to say, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you tell me how to manage this? Can you tell me how to pack their lunches? Can you tell me how to manage it when they're in sporting activities? Can you tell me? They're going to tell you the problems that they're having, and they're probably in your head already. You've already solved them, but you've solved them, and it was so easy for you now. You've forgotten them. So you don't even have to have all the answers. Just say, here's what I'm going to help you with. And then you listen to their problems. It's not, business is not rocket science. Actually, if you put your brain in check for a while and just listen, can I help this person? You'll be better off than sitting in your office thinking about it forever. So, all right. So pick the idea that wins. Create a price plan, and just say, "Pay me X, and I will solve Y." And you don't have to even have that at first, but that's where you're getting to. Here's the problem we solve. Here's how much I get paid, and then start putting it in front of customers. Get in front of customers every single day. And here's and then step 6, I've given you 5 steps. Write it down. Number 1. Number 2, share it with people. Number 3, pick the idea that wins. Number 4, creating a price plan, just putting a price to it. Number 5, start putting it in front of people. And number 6, this is the rinse and repeat almost, but repeat daily. And just say, I'm going to share this idea with X customers per day. I'm not teaching algebra here. I'm just saying X. Pick a number. 10 customers. I'm going to get on social media. I'm going to go get in front of people. I'm going to text people. I'm going to share it with 10 a day. That's it. There's nothing fancy. I've talked about no brochures. I've talked about no websites. I've talked about nothing else. This is just get in front of people today and every day. And that step 6, highlight it. Every single day. Put a calendar up. This is the Jerry Seinfeld method. Put a calendar on the wall, and then once you said I'm going to hit 3 customers per day, that's fine. Pick a number that you can handle. 3 customers today, I'm going to make an offer to them. I'm going to send it out. Hey, this is what I can do for you. Go put an X and never miss a day. Every day. I mean, Sunday you might not, Saturday you might not, but whatever makes sense to your business. But at least during the business days, you want to do this every single day. Never miss. That's execution. Never miss. See where sales are coming. Now, we can adjust these things. We can say there's no sales, and so what do we got to tweak? We can do all those kind of things, but those things are going to come very natural to you if you keep just doing it every single day. Okay. All right. So here's the challenge. I've gone on way too long about this, but I get this question all the time, and Here's the challenge. Stop obsessing with perfect ideas. I don't think there are any. There is excellent execution, not necessarily ideas. If you even look at Teslas and the SpaceX's and the Amazons and the companies you think are wildly successful, you may think, well, those are really great ideas. Really, if you looked back in time and watched them when they were beginning, you probably wouldn't have thought that. They've just executed with intensity. In those cases, a lot of intensity, but you don't have to be that intense. But write these things down, get busy, don't worry about polish. Okay? All right. Let me throw one more thing out. If these things hit home with you, if you are understanding this, if you're looking for the right idea, and if you want to get with us, I'm taking on some people right now that we're just doing we're getting them to $2,000 of income is what we're after. So because once you get started, once the income starts flowing, everything else gets easier. So I'm going to get past the noise. If you're interested in that, we're filtering that out. But let me know. Shoot me an email and let me know. One other thing though is if you're interested in this topic, if this hits home with you, is just go out and check out. There's a couple of episodes here. I will put links to them down below. How to find a business idea for a side hustle, 5 tricks to help you find ideas to start your business, how to keep someone from stealing your idea. That is episode 85. You'll probably be surprised about what goes on there. Episode 55, is my business idea good? Check them out. They'll be down below. We'll be back with you next week.